Alright, so I'll be showing you how to put on the cadet uniform. So I'll show you the order in which you put all the pieces on, and also how you wear all these items correctly. It's important that you do know how to do this, so you don't look bad when you're presenting yourself out in parade. Alright, so the first part of the uniform you want to put on are the wool socks here. Now the reason we put on wool socks first is just because once you put the wool socks on after you have some parts of the uniform on, it might start messing up. You might accidentally mess up some of the parts of the uniform because you have to bend down and try to put these socks on, and you might end up creasing some other parts of the uniform. So make sure you put the socks on first, and only these socks. When you have the cadet uniform, only the wool socks that you're issued. Don't wear any other type of socks. So after this, the next thing you'd put on is the dress shirt. Alright, so after putting on your socks, the first thing you'll put on is your dress shirt. Alright, but before you put it on, you need to set it up. So you need to have the name tag, ribbons if you have any, and your slip-ons on your dress shirt. So, let's start with the name tag. So, you get your name tag, like this, and the first thing you want to do is make sure that's aligned before you put it on. So, in terms of alignment, what you want is the center of the name tag to be aligned with the button here. So, for me, it's a bit easy because I can just align the button with the EN of my name. So I just look closely here on the EN, bring it up this way. Alright? Also, make sure your name tag is touching the top of the pocket here. Alright? That's about the place you want to put it. So, take out the pins, and be careful because this is kind of sharp. So I'm just gonna try to center it up, the EN, and hold steady, pierce it through. It looks about right to me. Then take the other side of the pins, then attach it to the back here. There you go. Try to also make sure that it's not crooked or anything. So it looks about right to me. Maybe a little off, but you get the idea. Alright, and there'd also, if you have a ribbon, you put it underneath, so the ribbon would be here instead of the name tag, and the name tag would be slightly above it. Alright, so let's move on to the slip-ons. The slip-ons, you have two of them, one on each shoulder. So, before you slip them on, though, one thing I do recommend you do is you have like an old credit card or a used gift card. Just put it inside of it, like this. That way, your slip-ons, they won't be flimsy, and they'll be nice and straight, and it kind of just makes it look nice. You don't necessarily have to do this, but I think you should, just because it looks nicer. So, when you do, make sure, button it. Make sure when you place the slip-on inside, if you have a card in it, make sure you put it in through the top. Notice how the applet is going through the top, not through the bottom, otherwise it might slip through. So just attach it like so. Pretty self-explanatory. Do it for the other side. It looks much nicer if you have a card going through it and such. There. So that's the dress shirt. Now, once you have your name tag and your epaulets on, just place on the dress shirt. Okay, so you have your dress shirt on, you have your name tag, and your ribbons if you have them, and all your shoulder flashes on. So, when we're wearing summer dress, do not button this top button, alright? Button every single other button except the very top one, okay? Try to press this flat as well, so the collar looks nice and flat. Remember how we put on the shirt first? So make sure when you put on the pants, you tuck your shirt into the pants. And when you put it over, tuck the shirt in and pull the fabric out once you button the pants. And make sure the fabric is nice and tight so there are no creases at the front and back of your shirt. Okay? When you put on your belt, you have to do something what's called brass. Okay, so for the boots, at this point, you would have your shirt, your pants, and your socks on. So, slip on your boot. You might need to use a shoehorn to get it on because it can be a bit hard to put on these boots. And the way to tie it, by the way, to lace this up, there should be another video on the website on how to lace up the boot. So, but for tying it, you don't tie it like a regular shoe. So first you would do the first step on how you would tie your normal shoe. So you cross it over like this, like so. Get it nice and tight. So you get the first step down. Then you just repeat the first step. Do it again. Once it's nice and tight, just tuck in the laces. Then you'd put your pant sleeve over. That's how you tie the boot. Alright, so now we're moving on to the tunic. Note that we're only going to wear the tunic when we say it's winter dress. Okay? The only other exception is when we're wearing, it's a CO spray, so be wearing full dress. Right? So winter dress and full dress are the times you'd wear your tunic. Alright? So when you wear a tunic, you're going to wear your dress shirt underneath, and you're going to button the top button here. Alright? Once the button is buttoned, pop your collar out like so. I already have my tie tied. I'm not going to show you how to tie a tie. There should be another video on the website showing how to tie a tie. So I'm just going to tie my tie. So it's nice and high. Alright? Also note that make sure your tie is tight so that it covers the very top button here. Okay? Once your tie is on, put down the collar. Make sure it's tight. And make sure that you can't see the top button when the tie is tied. Alright? So now, it's time to put on the tunic. When you have your dress shirt on, you don't need to have the stuff underneath. But for this, I'm just going to have it underneath anyway. So, putting on the tunic. Alright. Just button it like so. Alright, we're almost done. We almost have the entire uniform on now. We're just missing one more thing. This on our tunic belt. I'll show you how to put this on. Alright, so we have the tunic on. So now we're going to put the tunic belt on. So it's a belt. Put it through this loop. Make sure the belt buckle is facing outward. Put it through all the loops. Make sure it doesn't get tangled or caught in between. Alright, so now that you have your belt on, there's a specific way you can put it on. So before I do anything, one thing I do, what you're supposed to do is just have what's called a ducktail. So to get a ducktail, it's a bit hard to do it yourself, especially when you're just first starting to learn how to put on the uniform. But I recommend getting someone else to help you. Maybe a more senior cadet to help you. So what you want to do is you want to kind of push the fabric out to the back. So you kind of see how there's these kind of like these flaps here. I want to have that. So I want to pull it back like this way. The idea here is that you don't want to have many creases at the front when you have this belt on. You want to have remove the creases in the front and pull all the fabric back, the excess fabric, to the back and make this fold here so it looks nice and neat. So you're not just pushing the creases from here to the back, you're putting it into a fold at the back. Alright? So what I do is before I tighten up the belt, I just kind of shape up the fold real quick. See how if I can get it nice and tight. Then once I feel like I have it enough, I just grab the two pieces. I'd say that's good enough for myself. Maybe later when I arrive at cadets, I can ask another person to help. So I have it nice and tight like this. And continue putting on the belt. So I put it through this side, pull it nice and tight, and it might end up creasing the back again. So even when you pull it tight, you might need to adjust it again. So remember, you want the 2 flaps at the side here. Okay, I think that's good enough for now. I would need to get someone else to help me if I really want to make it perfect. All right, so put it through the other side of the belt now, and then just kind of put it through the last 2 loops here. Alright, so now you're not technically done yet. The next thing you do is you continue to try to make this ducktail perfect. So if there's some creases at the front, one thing you can do is you can pull on the front 2 belt loops, pull it back, find the 2 back belt loops, pull them back. Then grab the front fabric of your tunic, pull it down. And see, on the tunic, there's pretty much no wrinkles here. Alright? But the problem with that is that you're kind of just shoving it back. So that's why you need someone else to help you try and make the fabric nice and neat. It's really difficult to do it on your own. So yeah, you probably should try to find someone else to help you. So that's pretty much how to put on the tunic. Just try to get someone to help you when you do this. Now there's only one thing left, and that's the wedge. Okay, so the final part of your uniform is the wedge. So once you have everything on, your tunic if you're wearing it, your dress shirt, your pants, your socks, and your boots, right? So the first thing you want to do is just take a look at your wedge. Make sure there's no lint, stains, or anything that would look bad on it, right? So once you take a good look at it, check the front of the wedge. So one thing you want to check for is a lip. So if your wedge has something like this, it's kind of like a gap here, it does not look nice. So make sure you close that. Make sure it's nice and flat here. Right? That's what's called a lip. So make sure your wedge doesn't have that. Right? So once you have all that down, your wedge is clean, and you have no lip, it's time to put it on. So, as a male, try not to have too much puffy hair at the top. So try not to have your hair too long at the top, because you're going to need to tuck it in. Alright? So place the wedge upon your head. And then, for me, what I would do is I would just tuck in all my hair. So I'll just feel around the sides here, making sure that I feel no loose hairs. Right. So once I've done that, I've made sure there are no loose hairs on the side of my head. The next thing I would do is I would take 2 fingers and then put them at the top of your brow. This is about the space you need from the top of the wedge here to your brow. So just space it out with 2 fingers. Alright? So once that's done, that's a good amount of space, just 2 fingers. Okay? One other thing with the wedge is that it has a slight tilt to the right, to your right. So, kind of a good way to gauge it is on your right side, put out 3 fingers, and it can kind of just fit there. 3 fingers fits on the right. And for the left, get 4 fingers, and it kind of fits there too. Right? So 3 on the right, 4 on the left. Okay, so now you got a little bit of a 2 finger gap here, and you have a little bit of a right tilt to the right on your wedge. Alright, so that's kind of how it's supposed to look. Okay? The wedge is pretty simple to wear. Alright, so that just about covers it. So to quickly review the order in which you put your uniform on. So for summer dress, socks, shirt, pants, boots, wedge. And if you're wearing winter dress or full dress, basically the same thing, just put the tunic on top of that with the tunic belt. Alright, so that just about covers it. That's everything. So I know might be a little bit daunting, just a lot of stuff to remember. But eventually, once you spend enough time in this program, you'll just know all the stuff off the top of your head. So, yeah, that's all.